Food 500 race update brought to you by Strathfield.
Well, it's been a very tough race for most of these teams. John Cleland out the end of a very bold drive for the Aussie male team. Brad Jones starting off the campaign there. Now, Mark Scape inside his car. We see Team Kiwi locking up and leaving the circuit momentarily. That's the Fogg and Richards combination. Anthony Tratt, tyre problems there. We've seen a lot of panel damage today and rubbing on tyres, and that's created problems in the pits. Now, on that subject, Mark Scape pitting strongly. A little bit of trouble here. That precious few seconds, believe it or not, that Jason Bright took to do up his belt has cost them dearly in terms of track position. And we'll see in just a moment what we're talking about. Bright and Scape, otherwise, a very, very good transition there. But this man, Radicic, exited the pit lane in first position. In the background there, you can see Jason Bright in the Holden Racing Team Commodore behind him. Now, Murphy takes position here, overtaking Jason Bright. A very aggressive drive from Greg Murphy. Slight oil leak in that car, but they're managing quite well. Splash and go from Russell Ingall. And this was a key pit stop because it put the Castrol Perkins Commodore in first position ahead of Radicic. That, in fact, was the Macro Castrol Perkins car being overtaken by one of the Shell Helix teams. And Marcus Ambrose, terrible day for the Stone brothers. Marcus finishing up against the barrier. The rain's approaching. Ingall leads the race by just over 3 seconds. And Jason Bright has lots of problems, gentlemen, because his screen is fogged up dramatically, or at least oiled up, I should say.
That's the view from inside. Oh, don't forget, he was following Greg Murphy's car for a number of laps when Murph's car was pumping out oil. And what he's done, well, we don't know what the problem is, why that wiper stuck on, but it's smeared oil all over his windscreen, and that is what he can see. And as you can see, he can see very little.
That's what he can't see.
Up front is 3.1 seconds between Russell Ingall and Paul Radicic, and through on the inside
Longhurst.
It's Tony Longhurst. Here he comes. It's the sister car working his way up, and he is on the lead lap.
Poor old Jason Bright. He's done a 1:15. He's done a 1:14. He can't see where he's going, so his lap times are suffering terribly.
Yeah, for Jason Bright, of course, the conditions are just horrific out there. Apparently the word is the water that's used in the wipers just won't spray onto the windscreen for some reason. They don't know whether he'll come in at this stage. He's complaining he just can't see a thing. They will call that decision in the next couple of laps.
What a nightmare for Jason Bright. 14.8 was his last lap. We'll check it this time across, but he's lost up to 3 seconds a lap doing this. And the interesting thing is, considering the championship position here for Mark Scafe, whether Tony Longhurst will now lock in behind the number one car and fight a rear guard action in case there's any attack from the next car down the road, which is John Bowe.
Tony Longhurst nor Thomas Mazira are in championship contention. These guys are. You'd have to say the number 2 HRT Commodore would sit in behind. Now look at this. He's having to overtake here. This is really risky stuff for Jason Bright. During the ad break, we saw him run off the circuit several times. He's trying his best, but boy, is it under adverse conditions.
Oh, you've got to appreciate what a nightmare it is. You're trying to see the apex of the corner, and, you know, you're just getting within a sort of an inch of the apex of that, and you can't see anything. That must be, that is terrible for him. I mean, it's...
Well, the next car on the road is John Bowe in 6th place. He's about 22 seconds behind the Holden Racing Team pair. There's not too much of an immediate threat of a rear attack. So Tony Longhurst will just sit in behind there under team orders to make sure the number 1 car gets the maximum points haul they can. But what a difficult assignment for Jason Bright.
The Ingall's lead down to 2.8 from Paul Radicic.
That's been fluctuating,
yeah,
Barry,
it has,
over the last few laps.
Traffic and that.
Bright lights it up a little bit on the exit. There's only...
Doing a good job, mate. There might be light rain at
There may be light rain coming soon, and one of the tricks with television cameras is that it always makes the picture or the place look lighter than what it is. I can tell you when we look out of our commentary box window, it is black here at Willowbank.
Robbie Starr, chief mechanic on the number 1 car, just telling Jason words of encouragement. You're doing a good job, mate.
All that Jason wants is some rainwater on that, and it'll be impossible to see out of it if it is oil on there, which it looks like it is.
14 laps left to run here at the Queensland 500. And look at Tony Longhurst doing the perfect job as a team driver, just tucking in behind Jason Bright and keeping the others at bay. None of those drivers behind Longhurst, though, are in contention. The next driver back is John Bowe, but he's quite a few 20 seconds back, so he's not in contention at all at the moment.
Yes, Mark Scafe, Jason Bright out there is battling in the conditions. Will he last being out there, or will he have to come in?
Well, I mean, we're trying to not come in Craig, Grant. The thing about it is that when it's having a little spit now, you can see there's drops on the road, and we want it to properly rain because that'll fix the windscreen. But we've been running in and out and waiting for the rain to come, and if that happens, we're right. But don't want to come in because it costs us, I don't know, 30 or 40 seconds.
Will that throw the strategies way out? Like when to come in, when is it time to change to the wets?
Well, who knows? There's big dollops of rain now. It'll be on for young and old if it does hose. We might have to go back in there. We might, who knows what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what.
Well, it seems as though Mark Scaife's prayers have been answered. It is starting to rain here in pit lane. It's very light at this stage, but you can see the crews all starting to, I guess, get on standby. Will they need to put the wet weather tyres on, or will they stick with the slicks? That's the question at the moment. It is lightly raining in pit lane.
Hello. And Greg, we've got a problem here with car 2. You can see it slowing dramatically.
Mate, we're going to put wets on, okay? We're going to put wets on.
And you can see he's got to try and limp it around to pit lane now.
Lose a bit.
Look at that tyre destroying itself on Tony Longhurst's car.
Start, mate, but you'll get it back later on.
And you can see the sparks coming off because the rim has actually punctured the tyre carcass and it's rubbing on the road surface. And there could be the suspension dragging under there too. Oh, this could be a tragedy for the Holden Racing team so late. Look at this.
Go.
Now there's some...
Oh, he picked up the tyre. Yes, the tyre that was laying in the track.
Jason Bright, because he can't see where he's going, he's picked up that tyre.
Oh, what a shame.
It's come flying out the back. I don't think that's what caused Longhurst's puncture, though.
That's the third one we've seen in quick succession, isn't it?
Amazing. So Longhurst manages the long limp back to pit lane. Jason Bright still out there.
There was a bit of rub on the track. Brighty picked it up and it went under.
Well, there you go. Tony Longhurst telling the team that's exactly what caused that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And is that the piece of rubber that was thrown from David Bernard's car?
Yeah, you'd have to say it looks like about the size of it.
Or it could have been from the Donoghue car. Who knows? We're just guessing. But this is Longhurst's car, the number 2 Holden Racing Team machine, and it's going to be a quick change. That's disheartening because Tony was sitting nicely in 4th position.
Now, well, they're going to put wet weather tyres on the car. This is the big question here.
What a gamble if they do, Mark.
They've got wet sitting there, Bass.
Yeah, I know. It's...
They're going to do it.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
They're going for wet weather tyres. So 149 laps completed, 161.
If it doesn't rain, what do you give them? Like 5 laps, 6 laps?
So Tony Longhurst, the first car in this field to have wet weather tyres on. However, it is not yet raining properly here at Willowbank, so this is a massive gamble. Now, out on the circuit, just looking out of the commentary box window, I can see one of the Castrol cars slowing dramatically. Whether that is race leader Russell Ingall or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Has it just come round? No, it's the other car.
It's Adam Macro.
So, hard-stopping moments at the end of this race. Can you believe it? There's lightning flashing in the distance. We've got the Holden Racing Team car out there on wet weather tyres. Russell Ingall still leading by 2.6 seconds, the gap between Radisich. But John Bowe is now catching Jason Bright at about 4 seconds a lap. Bright is really struggling for lap speed out there at the moment.
From one Castrol car to another, and that's disheartening for Luke Youlden and Adam Macro. The 2 young guys have been doing very, very well today. Here's the sister car, the primary car, number 11, Larry Perkins, Russell Ingall. The enforcer is behind the wheel at the moment. There is 10 laps to go here at Willowbank before this man wins his 2nd Queensland 500. And boy, has it been a testy day. High temperatures earlier in the day. We're under thunderstorm conditions now. Will it stay away for just 10 more laps?
And can Jason Bright hang on to that valuable 4th place? John Bowe is closing on him very quickly. 11 seconds the gap now.
Was that Matt Neal gone off at the end of turn 3?
11 seconds the gap between the Caterpillar car. There's Matt Neal in the big Kev machine. Everyone's going off. This suggests we are getting a little bit more rain on the track than is obvious on the cameras. Everyone's starting to spear off all sorts of different parts of the circuit. So maybe it was a good call by the Holden Racing Team to go to the wet weather tyres. Tanda Bargwana machine continues to circulate.
I think, as you said earlier on, Mark, I reckon if it really dumps, they'll just red flag it.
It just depends on how many wrecks there are sitting around the track at the time, Baz.
Yeah.
Well, great to see this car back up and running, and they're now worked their way up to 17th position, and valuable points for the Valvoline Cummins team, because for 17th, they'll pick up something like 128 points. Every bit helps in this Shell Championship Series.
It's not absolutely saturated down here in pit lane at the moment, but this is probably the best illustration we can give you. Look at the way the dry cement is gradually getting wetter. That's about the rate that the rain is falling here at the moment. It's a question and a gamble now. Do they come in for wets? Do they stay out on slicks?
Not enough yet to have the wet weathers come into impact or have a full impact for Tony Longhurst.
1.9 seconds the gap between Radicic and Ingle. So the battle for the lead has come down less than 2 seconds.
You see Longhurst on wets is doing 118s and Russell's doing 115, Radicic doing 114. So you'd have to say there's no way the wets at the moment.
Oh, here comes Bright's in. Bright's in.
Jason Bright has come into the pits while sitting in 4th position. We've seen the troubles that this car has had, and now John Bowe in the Cat Ford has moved on to the podium. But not quite.
Up to
challenging for Murphy.
It's close though. Murphy still continuing with the oil pumping out of the car. Can you believe the drama at the end of this race?
They're going to have to put some kind of oil killer on that, because that is more that's not just a dirty screen. That's water, that's oil.
We're using a oil dispersing fluid there to try and clean this screen for Jason Bright. Valuable championship points slipping away here. Paul Radicic still in second. This will drop the #1 car down a position or 2.
The tyres up to speed, mate. They'll be greasy as fuck for a while.
Yeah, bring the tyres up to speed. They'll be greasy for a while. Very, very greasy position track here at Queensland Raceway.
Wet weather tyres for both the Holden Racing Team Commodores now. So depending on which way this weather turns, this final 8 or 9 laps is going to be crucial.
No, that was Matt Neal running off at the end of turn 3, and let's not forget that Matt had a very big accident at the Oran Park round in the new VX Commodore for Big Kevin. Slammed it into the side of the wall.
Might be Paul Morris back in the Big Kev car. We're just checking on that. He might have recovered from his problems.
The Jamie Brock, Steve Owen entry. Quite see it then, but Jason Bright, word is that he just ran very, very wide into turn 3. Well, extremely greasy conditions.
The battle for the lead has come alive. Radicic is now within 1.5 seconds of race leader Russell Ingle. Here it is.
Oh, that's even less now.
Look at how he's closed the gap. The Rat in the Shell 17 Falcon. There's still plenty of time to take the lead. Russell Ingle struggling here.
On the track at the moment. You can do it.
Getting encouragement from the team.
7 laps to go.
Wow, this is
what an
nerve-wracking second lap.
Look at these guys racing on a knife's edge. They're both on slick tyres, dry weather tyres. So grip, very, very hard to find. He sneaks up the inside, or does he? Russell Ingle is known for his tough fighting. They're going to go side by side up the back straight. Radicic is beautifully positioned on the inside as they break down toward turn 3. Ford, Holden, who's it going to be? Radicic on the inside. Ingle goes a fraction deeper. He wants to argue. Radicic, though, beautifully positioned on the inside. And the Shell Ford takes the lead.
Magnificent start from Paul Radicic. He just ground Russell Ingle down. Now, can the Enforcer respond? And it is teaming down here at Queensland Raceway. Will the HRT cars come back into contention? Bright is currently 6th. Longhurst is back in 7th.
Well, Radicic isn't home and hosed by a long shot. Here's Bright running wide after that stop. So you can see the track, even with wet weather tyres, still greasy.
They were probably new wet weather tyres, Mark. They weren't scrubbed at all.
The top 5 cars are out there on slick tyres.
You can hear the panic scream now. Radicic has decided to come into the pits, and Ingle's coming with him. So,
look at this.
Conditions must be so bad you cannot stay out there on dry weather tyres. Can you believe this drama toward the end of the race? John Bowe and Greg Murphy now, who's in 3rd, will take over the lead.
Well, Jason Bright is around about a little over a minute down, perhaps a minute 20 seconds on these guys. This needs to be a very slick stop. It can still be a race win for Russell Ingle and Larry Perkins, likewise Radicic and Johnson, but they need to get out, and they need to get out fast.
Bit of a battle here in the pits. Looks like the Castrol Commodore may be coming out of the pits very quickly. Here it comes.
Yeah, the Commodore.
40k.
He's
12 seconds was the stop for Russell Ingle. He's heading down pit lane now. It's taking a little bit longer for the Shell Helix team. Who'll get out in front here? And Radicic has done it. He's just edged ahead of Russell. Can you believe that?
Now let's take a look at where they come out back onto the circuit, because Jason Bright will be charging around. 6 laps to go, looking up the straight. Bright is nowhere in sight. Radicic still the race leader.
Keep in mind, Greg Murphy's in front. Murphy still hasn't pitted, so Murphy's out there on slick tyres. He's our race leader at the moment.
Best of luck to
getting
him, I tell you
very,
what,
very confusing here. So Greg Murphy, we're just trying to pick up a picture of our race leader in car 15, still on slick tyres. What is the Murph going to do?
Will the Kiwi be able to hang out there? His last lap time was something like a 1:20, which wasn't too bad under these circumstances.
Oh, look at them tiptoeing around. It's like an ice skating rink out there at the moment. There's been a lot of oil laid down. You see the Toll Open car just running wide. Everyone's struggling for grip. Look at Ingle trying to get 600 horsepower to the ground through those cold tyres.
I have to say, the Ford looks better in the rain, doesn't it? It's getting a lot more traction.
Wow.
Can you believe this race? Now, you won't believe the amount of high fives going on down here at the Shell team. Now, that call to come in was instigated by Stevie Johnson. He was out there in the pit saying, bring him in, it's about to pour down. And he's right, because the decision to move to wet weather tyres has proved correct, because it's really coming down now out here.
Here's Greg Murphy, race leader. He's peeled off into pit lane, so Paul Radicic now takes over the lead of the race. Greg Murphy.
Around about 12 seconds gone so far, Mark. It's taking a little bit longer on the front left than this team would like. The drops in pit lane here have rained up very heavy.
Now watch the overlap here. It's going to be interesting to see where Paul Radicic and Russell Ingall are positioned on the track. He had a 31-second lead when he came into the pits, allowing for slowing down and speeding up.
They've already gone past Mark, so Radicic and Ingall are okay. Greg Murphy should regain in third. This is your race leader, the Rat, Paul Radicic. Very, very heavy conditions. Be careful. The instructions from the pits, that is obvious, and there has not been a great deal of wet weather racing nor testing here at Queensland Raceway, so this is pretty much uncharted waters.
There's never been a wet race at Queensland Raceway in the 2 years of V8 Supercar competition we've seen here, so the drought has clearly broken. Everyone's back to a clean slate in terms of settings and what you got to do. But it looks like the Shell team. Oh, problems here for John Bowe.
That's while he was in third position, and he has thrown that away. Well, perhaps a podium position, and it is gone now for the Cat Ford.
He was trying to stay out there on slick tyres, but the weather got too heavy, and look at the disappointment. The Cat team, now John's going to be stuck there.
I cannot tell you how hard it's raining. It's really coming down.
John Briggs in the team will not believe that.
Now, what are they going to do here? Are they going to bring out a safety car? Are they going to red flag the race? There's cars strewn all over the place, and meanwhile, this battle continues. It's an absolute thriller. 1.6 seconds was the gap. It's come down under 1 second now as Ingall gets up to full race speed. 5 laps remaining. About 15 kilometres of nail-biting action before the end of the Queensland 500.
Oh, I hope they don't red flag it, because it's going to ruin such a good race.
Well, we're that close. We're that close, aren't we, to home? Yeah. And Russell Ingall's not out of this one. Paul Radicic has a big challenge on his hands. Russell Ingall desperately wants to make it 2 wins out of 3 years. Look at the rain. It is pouring.
Hard under brakes. Just trying to avoid any wheel lockups as they come down at the end of the back straight through turn 3. Over the bumps, and look at Ingall closing in under brakes, and you've got a graphic indication there of the amount of rain. It's all over the camera lenses. The circuit looks like an ice skating rink, and here's the John Bowe incident. On slick tyres, John Bowe is a passenger from here.
Well, you have to say, as far as their respective V8 Supercars careers are concerned. Oh, he's gone! Radicic, the race leader, is gone!
And what about...
Spun out of contention. Russell Ingall went through on the inside, so Ingall has regained the lead. Radicic desperately tries to get the car back off the grass and onto the black stuff. So heading down into turn 4 and 5 and spun. So Ingall regains the top spot.
It's an absolute monsoon here at Queensland. A tropical rainstorm. And Paul Radicic, you could see him struggling trying to get that power to the ground in treacherously slippery conditions. And here's the new race leader, Russell Ingall.
Oh, no!
Big brake lock up on the Castrol Commodore.
Look at that.
How long did he carry that lock brake?
Damn,
now he's going to need some valuable feedback here from the team. They'll need to instruct how much he has over Radicic so he can just calm it down. Stephen Ellery has gone on. No, whilst in 6th position. 18 seconds. Back it down for Russell Ingall. And apparently the race has been red flagged. Russell Ingall has won.
Well, hang on a minute.
Or it might go back 1 lap.
Because they always call a red flag on the lap previous
to the
lap they stopped at Russell. Russell Ingall may still be declared second here. There's going to be a lot of discussion between the officials
about this.
Well, the team were patting Larry Perkins on the back, but that might be premature.
Well, no wonder they have red flagged it. It is absolutely bucketing down here at the moment. There's a bit of wind coming through with it as well. And the rain is really driving these very heavy droplets. And off in the distance, can you believe it? There's a break in the cloud. If only it had kept going a little bit longer, maybe it could have finished in dry situations.
Greg, we need to find out who has been declared the race winner, because if they pulled out the red flag, it's the lap previous to when the red flag was shown.
And that's what Larry Perkins is wondering as well, I'm sure.
Well, Nigel said it's definitely, I believe Nigel. Nigel's never wrong, and it's
Nigel Greenway,
Radicic.
our race statistician, is saying Paul Radicic and Junior Johnson will be declared the winners.
We'll have to wait and see. There is the Rat. He is beached, sitting off to the side of the circuit.
He's still got time. The Water Rat.
The Water Rat.
You'll be right. We're going to go and argue the point now. We were still the leader on the leaderboard at the time.
No, it goes back to the last lap.
There's going to be some arguments down there before this race is declared.
Radicic is
We're
the
hearing
winner.
from race control that Radicic and Junior Johnson are the winners.
Well, in the 3 years, the history of this race, this has been the most exciting Queensland 500. It's been the most drama-packed.
I have never seen anything like that, not only at Queensland Raceway, but anywhere. Incredible drama in the Queensland 500. What a thrilling finish.
We have had confirmation from race control that...
What?
We have had confirmation from race control that Paul Radicic and Junior Johnson are the winners of the Queensland 500, as the race results are always called on the lap previous to when the red flag was shown. So there he is, the Water Rat, and here come the fans.
Look at that.
Paul Radicic wins in controversial circumstances and drama-filled. That is unbelievable.
Hope that bloke's got enough elastics in his shorts.
Athletic-looking
We
chap.
might be cutting away early.
There's Stevie Johnson, and the team are delighted. Larry Perkins, well, what mixed emotions.
We saw a similar situation like this when Dick Johnson thought he'd won Bathurst in 1992.
Yeah.
And now he is on the receiving end of the red flag rule.
What an incredible race. Grant Denyer?
Well, Larry Perkins, by your own calculations, and it has been confirmed that the Rat is the winner. What a way to lose this race.
Well, I certainly consider that Russell won this race, no doubt about it, but the official record will clearly say Radish, but it's the way it goes.
Bitten by the red flag rule.
Well, bitten by some little official up there who could have waited another 4 or 5 seconds for Russell to cross the line. He was still the man out there going hard and on the track, but that didn't happen.
How hard is it to drive in conditions like these?
Well, you can say it's terribly difficult, and you know, his young Radish is a good driver, but he couldn't handle the conditions, whereas Russell handled them well, and it's just a great pity from that perspective that Russell wasn't the winner.
Well, if Russell's the winner in your eyes, we still have Bathurst to come. What will that mean for you two?
Oh, well, Bathurst is always a standalone race, and you know, here doesn't mean anything. You know, we nearly got it right here, but a whole new ball game come Bathurst.
Hard luck, Larry.
Thank you.
Well, pit lane is absolutely flooded, and it's flooded with tears of joy as well. Stephen Johnson, you have done it. Well done.
Oh, Rusty, that's just what we needed. I mean, we've given it to all of them all day. We've given it to Ingles. We've given it to HRT. And, I mean, to win here at our home track, you know, we were not the fastest car. We were consistently up there, and, you know, we've done it. The boys have done a fantastic job in the pits. It's all down to them.
Fantastic effort all day, and it was one of those races that could have gone anyway, couldn't it?
Oh, mate, absolutely. I mean, Scafie and I were seesawing back and forward there. It was so close. I missed the restart, got a few pebbles on my tyres. He got past. I wasn't too worried. Got into the pit stop, beat him out of the pits, and, you know, Paul's just driven fantastically today.
He certainly has. Now, that's the Queensland 500 you've won on home turf. Can you do it at the big
Mate,
one?
These Enduros, these double points races, I'm loving. Bring more of them on, so I can't wait to get to Bathurst.
You've got an awesome record, mate, when you look at the Adelaide 500, the 2 races there, the 3rd one at Canberra, now the Queensland 500. Keep it going.
Mate, thank you, thank you. Thanks to everybody out there for supporting us. Fantastic.
Pretty happy, Steve Johnson.
And that young man is slowly developing himself as the enduro specialist. It's time for the fans to go home, but we're not going anywhere. Stay with us on Network 10, and we will talk more about this extraordinary race. More on your home of motorsport right after this. The winners, Johnson and Radicic, for the 3rd Queensland 500 from Perkins and Ingle. Murphy and Kelly will stand on the podium as well. It was a tough race for Scape and Bright. Mazera and Longhurst in the top 5. Romano and Kelly inside the top 10. And Paul Morris and Matt Neal got there in the top 10. It was a tough race for some. Look at these guys all the way back, and it was an early exit for Lowndes and Crompton. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to the VIP Pet Foods Queensland 500. You are watching Paul Radisich, the Rat, spin off the circuit. Look at the front brakes locked up. This has just been the most extraordinary V8 Supercar endurance race. We thought he had tossed it away. It was all over at that point. That was shortly before a massive deluge of rain. And, well, in just a matter of moments, he then found out he was the winner. The race was red flagged, and on official rules, it goes back to the previous lap, the previous full lap, and Radisich was leading the race at that stage. Would you believe it? The sun is shining now at Queensland Raceway. You can't win. Unbelievable stuff and quite an incredible race, and so much for everyone. And boy, have we got a tight championship. We'll talk more about that, but it's coming to an exciting end for the 2001 season. There's still 4 rounds remaining, and this really has been quite an incredible season as the Shell Championship Series. The fans have had a wonderful day. Boy, have they been entertained. A little bit of everything. And the expected winners perhaps didn't. And plenty for everyone to take something away from Queensland Raceway. Look at that. The sun is now out here. Just not only an extraordinary race, but quite a weird day weather-wise. We had a quite a severe rainstorm in Brisbane this morning early when we left the hotel at around 6 a.m. And the sun was shining for the majority of the day, and in rolled that storm, and it's gone as quick as it came. There is the number 11 Castrol Commodore, Larry Perkins and Russell Ingall. They will be dejected, understandably. A very solid run by the Kmart Commodore, Greg Murphy and Todd Kelly. A little bit of motivation and inspiration for them because they've had a trying year. And finally, Greg Murphy's bad luck has left him. So good stuff there. But the Rat and Junior, they are the winners. Marvellous stuff. Here's Mark Osler.
Well, what a fantastic Queensland 500. One of the best V8 supercar races we've seen in the history of the category. And the Queensland fans turning out in great numbers. Congratulations, Queensland. Fantastic to see the support for V8 supercars. They're going to be around for a long time yet. Right now, I'd like to put your hands together for the guys who really put in a great effort today. We saw oil pouring from the car toward the end of the race, but they managed to survive. Brilliant drive from Greg Murphy and Todd Kelly. Well done, mate. Todd, you dropped out of this race last year with HRT with that whole radiator. I guess this makes up for that, does it?
Oh, it certainly does. It was certainly a little bit nerve-wracking towards the end with the oil leaking out of the left rear wheel, and we got there in the end, and it's a pretty sweet victory.
Must be great to be in such a competitive car after the learning years with the Holden Young Lions. You're really starting to hit your straps.
Oh, it certainly is, and to finish third today with the current championship standings, the points will come in really handy and should be a good finish to the year.
Well done. Let's get your teammate in here, Murph. I'm not sure if you realised, but all that oil you were pumping out went all over Jason Bright's windscreen. He couldn't see a thing.
Well, I apologise for that, but I had no idea it was happening, and the guys didn't tell me, which was probably a good thing. Otherwise, I would have started panicking. So it was a tough day at the office, that's for sure.
Boy, the Kmart car had some speed out there, particularly in that last segment. You were going gangbusters.
Yeah, I'm also a bit perplexed myself about that. I came out of the pits, the guys did an awesome stop and moved us so close to the leaders. And for a while there, it was really charging on, and I was thinking this is going to end really, really well. And obviously it did end well. We stayed there and we were able to sort of hold just behind Russell and Paul. So we were wrapped with that, and we've got a result.
Just before I let you go, a little bit of a congratulations from the Kmart team on you and Monique having your baby. A little baby suit they've decided to give you. Hold it up to the crowd. Put your hands together for Greg Murphy and Monique. Wonderful moment.
Well, they'll be watching back home, so hi, guys.
Congratulations, the Kmart team. Now, we saw a fantastic battle. It was an absolute thriller between the Castrol Commodore team and the Shell team. In the end, the Castrol team missing out. They did get in front, but because they pulled out the red flag, the race was declared on the lap previous, so naturally they missed out by only a few seconds. But still a fantastic effort. Put your hands together for the Castrol team. Russell Ingall and Larry Perkins. Well, Larry, that's the brakes. Sometimes it goes in your favour and sometimes it doesn't. But, boy, what a great battle.
Yeah, that sums it up all right. And, you know, you got to congratulate the Shell team for winning, that's for sure. But, yeah, I'm very proud of the way Russell drove that particular race and kept it on the island. And to me, I reckon he won it, but as in morally. But, officially that won't be in the record book.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, Russell. Brilliant drive. In the end, you said you were hoping it was going to rain because you reckon you'd be in a winning position. You were, but then you weren't.
Mate, I reckon the crowd got their money's worth today. What do you reckon, guys? All right? Look, it was a great race. I mean, that's what the sport's all about, you know, real good, hard racing. And, mate, Paul's a good competitor. Like, I think we're at the same mould, and he pushed me pretty hard. But, look, wet, dry, you got to drive in both conditions. As soon as it started to rain, he was on the ball, and I saw the 17 coming at me. I thought, this is going to look ugly. But, look, I really enjoyed the race, really enjoyed it, and it was one of those classics, I think.
Put your hands together, folks, for the Castrol team. Russell Engel and Larry Perkins. Watch out for them in action at Mount Panorama. Right now, I'd like to call on the winners of this race. Brilliant drive from the Shell team. Paul Radisich and Junior Johnson. Well, what a fantastic moment, guys. Junior, you'd be well aware that a Falcon has never won a race here, even though there's a whole lot of Queensland teams that test here all the time. You've finally broken the drought.
Yeah, Mark, it's, you know, we couldn't have asked for a better result to the day. I mean, we've really worked hard for this. It's our home test track. We knew we had a good race car. We knew we didn't quite have the speed in qualifying, and, you know, go Shell and go forward.
How close was that battle in the middle there? When you were locked in that battle with those two Holden Racing Team Commodores, what a battle. I mean, it was just, you were separated by hundredths of a second, lap after lap.
I mean, that was a major boost for us. You know, Mark's a fantastic competitor, and I'll tell you what, there was nothing between our two cars. It just all depended on traffic, who'd catch who. But, you know, the good guys won in the end.
Let's get your teammate back in, Paul. We were calling you the water rat there. You were sitting in the car. It was pouring down with rain, but gave us the thumbs up. You must have known you'd won.
Well, I hadn't. I mean, what a way to finish the race. And in those circumstances, you never know. But, gee, Russell drove well. I couldn't do anything about him in the dry. And as soon as it started to rain, I thought, hey, this is my chance, and I really got to try. And I dug in, and it went for us. So, gee, the whole Shell team, Ford, all our sponsors, this is a terrific one for us to win. As, you know, this is our test track and home track.
Put your hands together, folks, for Paul Radisich and Junior Johnson, the winners of the Queensland 500 in 2001.
Well, we've used the analogy before. It's a bit like shuffling the top few cards in a pack and just seeing which one comes out on top. It was that kind of race at the end, but you have to have the pace to be near the top of the pack, and those three teams were. We'll talk to the team that was unlucky to come fourth as well after the break on the Queensland 500. A stunning success not only for Shell Helix Racing but the fans here at the Queensland 500 and the sponsor as well. VIP Pet Foods has just announced it'll renew its sponsorship of this event, and why not? Even though it was raining cats and dogs a little earlier, which was rather appropriate. Cue the canned laughter. A mini V8 superstars here as we welcome Mark Scaife to bring some common sense to this coverage. But certainly there wasn't a lot of luck common out there today, mate. I mean, there was all sorts of dramas.
Well, look, I mean, our car was very good, and at the end there, Jace couldn't see, and that was the drama when it was dry. And in some ways, we were a little bit lucky that it did rain, because we were going to have to come in to clean the screen. And I was a spectator, so I didn't mind it raining. I was watching, I was standing out in the rain. I was hoping that it was going to pour, because I thought that would, you know, give us less disadvantage. And as it worked out, it wasn't too bad for us. It wasn't great, but not too bad.
A little bit tighter for you in the championship battle now. I think they've pinched about 100 points off you or something like that.
We'll have to get back on with the job again at Winton, won't we? So, you know, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. And as I said, you know, as the year goes on, there's still plenty of points left. So we've got to make sure that we, you know, we keep finishing up at the pointy end.
Well, there were 4 rounds altogether still to go, and 3 of them when you and Jason are separated again. So there's so many other factors involved in this championship still.
Oh, no doubt. And, you know, that's the thing that you've got to keep on doing, Bill, is be up there in contention and try to, you know, nail some points each weekend. That's the hard bit about the category as it is.
Well, it was a pretty good save, mate, under the circumstances. Best of luck for the rest of the season. And Barry's got your co-driver here who can tell us just what it's like to drive without looking.
God, Jason, was it that bad? I mean, we got a shot from inside. We couldn't see anything.
Yeah, it was particularly bad, and the 2 left-handers in the middle, I just could not even see what part of the track I was on. I couldn't see the braking markers going down the straights. It was great when someone passed me because I could follow their taillights.
So you could brake later because you couldn't see the markers?
Yeah, pretty much. I probably overshot a few braking braking markers, but yeah, it was very difficult. I was like, what the hell did I do that for?
So what did you do? Did you feel you ran over a piece of tyre?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I know I ran over it. Like I said, I couldn't tell whether I was on the inside of the corner or inside of the straight or the outside of the straight. I was just waiting for the flag marshal post to come up because I knew that was somewhere near my braking marker.
He did an amazing job, and I think old Scafey thinks himself lucky he wasn't in it.
Oh, mate, I don't know why he handed it to me in 15th and he handed it to me when it rains. I don't know what the deal is here.
Team priority, Baz, you know the gig.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Why not? Well, you've done really good, Jason.
Thanks, mate.
Well, commiserations to the Holden Racing team, but at least they managed to pick up some major points in this event. Marcus Ambrose, unfortunately, finished it up against the wall. What a day. Just about everything happened to you guys, and you looked like you were going to recover and make it to the finish, but not so.
Yeah, mate, I think I should go to TAFE and start a course on how to go from hero to zero in one afternoon, you know. But, yeah, we didn't have a bad weekend, you know. Qualified pole, we were really fast in the race when I was in the car. It just doesn't go our way, you know. These double point scoring races just seem to jinx us. We haven't scored a point in any of them.
Well, that is a major problem for the championship, isn't it? I mean, if you don't get good results in these sorts of races, then you are really set back. And that's basically been the difference between you being up the front and battling for the series win.
Yeah, but, you know before the race starts, it's a double points race, so you've got to acclimatise and just adapt to it. I'm a rookie. We made a few mistakes there today. As a team, we made some mistakes as well, so we've really got to work that out for next year. And we've got heaps of speed, there's no doubt about it. We've just got to get a result or two.
Well, plenty of races left, plenty of opportunities. But just briefly before we finish, you've driven at the top level overseas in open wheel racing. Have you ever seen a day like this where we've had such a dump of rain right at the crucial stage of the event?
About 14 or 15 races a year in England.
Good point.
It always rains there, mate.
Well, look, best of luck to you for the rest of the season, Marcus Ambrose. And under the circumstances, a good effort today.
Yeah, thanks, Billy.
Well, there's plenty of rounds left, as I said, for Marcus Ambrose to clamber back. He's always going to be a factor in individual rounds, if not the championship, of course. That is still wide open as well, though. We're going to take a break here on your home of motorsport. We'll be back to wrap up the Queensland 500. We'll show you those championship points and what's ahead. We're back at the Queensland 500, the aftermath, and let's see what sort of spin we can put on the championship situation right now. We're going to show you the points for the Shell Championship Series, bearing in mind there is Bathurst still to come, where the co-drivers will pair up again. We're not sure if they'll be together again, Scaife and Bright, but nevertheless, that is a decision for HRT, and of course 3 rounds where they're individually racing. You can see that Ingle and Johnson have made up some ground on the Holden Racing team. But nevertheless, that solid 4th position has put them in pretty good shape still. But a great battle for the championship. 270 points there approximately between Scaife and Ingle. And that should be easily chewed up by a determined Castrol-Perkins team in the next 4 rounds. Russell, if all goes your way. I mean, it was a tough day at the office. And Larry made a very good point. The red flag, the timing of it anyway, was critical.
Absolutely, you know, and actually I had that at the back of the mind because I was on the radio the whole time, have we won it? Because I had the feeling they're going to go back a lap. So I was a bit, even though they said, you've won, I said, well, I don't know about that. And when I came around, they said, no, they've gone back a lap. But look, you've got to give a credit to, I mean, this is all about pit stops, and we picked up 7 seconds in our pit stop because our crew was just so quick. So, I mean, it makes my job a bit easier.
Right at the end of that, when you, Paul started to pull away, and then you started to catch him up, why was that? Getting the tyres full or what?
Yeah, once the wets went on, they take about a lap or so to get going, but you're sort of feeling your way as well, because obviously this is the first time, well, I think this is the first time we've actually had a wet race here. So it's sort of feeling it, and I thought, oh, bugger, I've got to go for it. I've got to try and nail him back. And I started pegging him back, and I thought, Jesus, this is looking all right. Then he speared off, and I thought, yes.
What about you down here then?
I had a big lock-up. It went for about 100 metres. I could feel the fronts locked, and I thought, please, come back. And it just made it round. Heart started beating again.
So you're happier than you were this morning, but not as happy as you could have been.
Well, look, after seeing those points situation, it's not too bad. I mean, it's only exactly 200 points to Scaife, and we've still got 4 races to go. So, I mean, there's nothing to be sad about. I mean, we're still definitely a title contender.
Great drive.
Thank you. Thanks very much, mate.
Good on you, Russell. Thanks, mate. All the best.
Thank you.
Yes, Barry, that's the interesting thing, because in past years, of course, the Queensland 500 has been the penultimate event, and then you got Bathurst, and even though Bathurst is double points, it's just one more round, puts a lot of pressure on. Now we have, as I said, the 3 events to go, single driver events, and then Bathurst as well.
Well, it's great. I mean, the championship has really come alive, and a couple of races ago, people said, oh, well, you know, it's HRT running away with it. But it's not. I mean, it's far from over yet. You know, you've got Bathurst, and God only knows what can happen at Bathurst, and then another couple of races after that, or another race after that. You know, 2 more races, in actual fact.
There is just so many possibilities in these types of events, and I'm sure Bathurst, of course, over the entire day is going to throw up equally, and look how wet that was last year. We hope it won't be wet this year because it can be quite dangerous, of course, but so many computations, particularly with the pit stop times we've seen here.
Oh, exactly, you know, but a lot of people said, oh, Queensland Raceway's boring, this, that and the other. I mean, I don't care what anybody said, that was a really, really good race. That was getting up into the sort of Adelaide category of a race, you know. It's maybe a flat track, but it was really good racing. And the guys, I mean, they really earned their money today, didn't they? That was really dodgy out there in the rain, surface water and all that, and it was very, very entertaining.
Some amazing performances, only enhances the depth of the field, which brings us back to how we opened the show. So much driving talent out there, and the teams are acquitting themselves extremely well too, and the machinery is about as equal as we've seen it for many, many years. Ford versus Holden, it has not been much better than this. Let's have a look at what's ahead in your home of motorsport. We go back to 2 wheels as we see the resumption of the Grand Prix. Barry and I will be back to bring you that tonight. Don't miss it, because Biaggi is on pole and Valentino Rossi, his bitter championship rival, is right alongside him. The other Italian, Loris Capirossi, who was very quick early in the weekend, is 3rd on the grid. And there's Australia's Gary McCoy just behind Jürgen van der Gorberg. Great performance there to get on the front row in that KR3 team.
Yeah, amazing. And I tell you what, with Gary McCoy, you know, he's fully fit now. He's been doing some motocross and that, and I wouldn't be out of my bed putting into my money on McCoy. He's going good.
Round 10 of the Shell Championship Series, Winton, Victoria. That's the next single driver round we spoke about. Then, of course, we have Bathurst early October. Pukekohe in New Zealand, first international round for forever, really, or in terms of the series, the first time. And then we finish in the Sandown V8 International. So lots of points still to be won. Lots of great excitement in the Shell Championship Series.
Oh, it's great. You know, the whole thing about it is, you know, with the Superbikes, the World Championship and the V8s and everything, I mean, in England, you don't get hardly any motorsport, so we're very lucky out here.
We're looking forward to the remainder of the season. The sun is out here, still dark clouds surrounding the circuit, but almost a halo over the Willowbank Raceway. It's been that good. We'll be back with more, of course, on your home of motorsport later in the season. We hope you've enjoyed this one. In the meantime, on behalf of the entire crew here, it's goodbye from the Queensland 500. Sneaks up the inside. Well positioned. Oh, he gets very sideways. Taking a little bit longer for the Shell Helix team. Who'll get out in front here? And Radicic has done it. He's out there. Oh, Tomlin's here for John Brown. Big break lock up on the Castrol Commodore.
18 seconds. Back it down for Russell Ingall. And apparently the race has been red flagged.
We have that confirmation from race control of Paul Radicic and Junior Johnson are the winners of the Queensland 500. And the race results are always called on the lap previous to when the red flag was shown.